What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video, and I'm sure you can tell by the title of this video, this is my Stranger Things Season 5 Volume 1 review. I know I'm a few days late. I'm sorry, I was, again, just busy. Just been doing stuff. Haven't really been in the mood to upload any videos on YouTube. So sorry. But here it is. This is my full-on review of the season, or the first part of the season that has been released, the first 4 episodes. Before I get into it, I just want to say that, this has just been a long time coming. This has been a 3-year wait and build up in anticipation for this season. And just to have it finally here to see the first 4 episodes in all of its glory is just such, it's like, it's almost so unreal because you just been waiting for it so long, and the fact that it's finally come again, it just almost feels like a dream. But anyway, let's get into the video. All right, so this season takes place a whole 18 months after season 4, the events of season 4 and everything happening. Max being in a coma, Eddie Munson unfortunately passing away, the defeat of Vecna, Elle, Mike, and Will and Jonathan returning to Hawkins. It is a whole 18 months after those events, and I want to state that, and this is one of my biggest issues with the first part so far, is that it almost feels like that stuff didn't happen, or it was just so long ago that a lot of people kind of forgot. You kind of start off this season again, almost as if that stuff didn't really happen. One of my biggest issues is, the big cliffhanger of last season's ending was the fact that you saw the Upside Down rising out of this gigantic hole made by Vecna. And, in this season, it's all patched up, the hole. And it's almost as if it's never happened. It's like, how the hell did they contain that gigantic firestorm of hell, back into the hole? How the hell did they do that, They never really explain it. It's just, oh, it's covered now, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that is kind of not what I was really hoping for and expecting. I was really expecting this season to start as just an absolute hellhole, for Demogorgons and Demodogs to be everywhere, the streets just being ran through by creatures, and it being this absolute, I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but almost just upside-down hellhole. And it wasn't quite that. And a couple other things, nobody really mentioned Jason's death, which I thought was weird, considering, 2 of Jason's best friends are, picking on Dustin. They're bullying him because he's still wearing his Hellfire shirt. And it's, not a single one of them mention, oh, you got Jason killed, or that club got Jason killed. It's again, it just almost feels really disconnected, which was a little disappointing. But trust me, if that's one of the biggest issues of this part, you have a fantastic part on your hands. And this is a fantastic part. Season 5 is already in consideration for me to be a runner-up season. Another issue that I did take, though, with this season is and this is kind of a big issue I had with season 3. It feels like a lot of the characters are really starting to bicker again. When we ended last season off, everyone was so happy or really depressed. And in this season, it's kind of like everybody's used to each other again, and they're all kind of bickering, and it's because they've been around each other for 18 months. I kind of wish the 18-month time jump wasn't a thing. I kind of really wish I don't know, I wouldn't say we had to pick up right where season 4 left off, but pretty soon after would have been nice. I'm not really a big fan of this 18-month time jump thing, but it is what it is. So yeah, I took an issue to that. A lot of characters are really arguing a lot this season, and again, if you've seen my ranking, the bickering in season 3 particularly was very annoying, and this definitely felt a little bit like that. Steve specifically. Steve was really getting on my nerves this first part. It just seems like he's just he's arguing with everybody. He's arguing with Dustin. He's arguing with Nancy. He's arguing with Jonathan. A lot of arguing. And I think my final complaint for this part so far is it just still feels like the Duffers are just so scared to kill off any sort of main character in any way. It feels as if, though, if the character's been around for more than a season, the Duffers are like afraid to kill them off. You know, I mean, then there was a contradiction to that. Billy, obviously, he was around for a season before they killed him off, but man, it's just like I don't want to get into it too much yet, but Nancy's parents should have died. Both of them should have been killed. Why, like, why tease that? Because they know we want people to die. Obviously, in the sake of loving these characters, no, we don't want them to die, but we kind of want to see them die. And so it's like, you know we want that, so why tease it by, like, having them get seriously injured and not actually killing them off? They're nothing characters, really, but we still care about them. So just kill them off. But the Duffers just seem to be too scared to pull that trigger, man. And there was another scenario where Joyce could have been killed off. It would have been a great opportunity at the very end of episode 4, where she stands off against Vecna. Vecna could have killed her right there. They don't want to. They're just like so afraid for whatever reason. And I will say this, if we don't get at least 3 of our main characters dying, I might consider this part a flop. Or, sorry, this season a flop. Because I'm so sick of, like, these seasons just not having any consequences outside of killing, like, regular characters. But anyway, those are my dislikes. Let's get into everything that I did like. So, I really, really, really liked the relationship between Will and Robin this season. That was the biggest standout, I thought, of this part so far. Their relationship and their friendship in this season is so... Not only is it's so heartfelt, they have such great chemistry, and they can relate to each other on a personal and deep level, because Robin is gay and so is Will, you know, and he kind of saw that firsthand when he accidentally spies on her and Vicky in the hospital. And, you know, she kind of saw him there, and she brings it up later, and they just have that nice conversation. And they kind of break the conversation up into, like, 3 different scenes. The first scene when they're walking in the woods, the second scene in the hospital, and then the third and final scene is in the tunnels. And, you know, and she's telling him, like, she knows deep down he's gay, but he won't admit it. And they just have this very deep-rooted connection, and you can feel their friendship, and they spend most of the season together, and by far it was the standout for me. It comes in so good at the end. Will himself was such a great standout of the season. Best character of the season so far, honest to God. Noah Schnapp's acting was incredible so far. Excuse me. Obviously, the big... just fucking absolute shock ending where he reveals he's got fucking powers and he saves Mike, Lucas, and Robin at the same time. Incredible. I really hope we get to see him take on Vecna, even though I think he might die. But that's for another time, another video. But Will, man, such a standout this season. And Robin, again, as always, a huge standout this season. She is my favorite character aside from Hopper. But I'll tell you what, man, maybe even after this season, she might be my number 1. Right now, she's number 2. She might be my number 1 by the end of the day. I love her character so much, and she's just even better in this season. Mike is another character that got completely upgraded this season. Finally, he's not relegated to some stupid fucking side character who we can't stand. He's actually taking initiative and being a leader of the group again, which is great. Nancy is Nancy, as always. You know, she didn't really change too much. Jonathan and Steve were getting on my nerves this season, like I said earlier. Even a little bit of Dustin was pissing me off. I understand he's, like, depressed and all, but I'm not digging this whole... I don't want to say I don't like it, but it's just not... I'm not totally, like, jiving with this whole rebellious thing he's got going on. I like that he's kind of taking in Eddie's mannerisms, and he's kind of dressing like Eddie. He's got the rings on, the long hair, and the outfit and stuff. I like that, and I like that he's standing up for himself. You know, he put up a good fight against those 4 bullies in the fucking woods at Eddie's grave. And he took it like a champ, so he's maturing definitely, but he's got kind of this rebellious thing going on. I don't hate it. I want to preface that. 11 is 11, you know. Nothing really too special changed about her this season. Joyce is Joyce. You know, they didn't really get any character upgrades at all. Erica is Erica. Lucas is Lucas. I like that he's kind of taking on this more defender, not defender, but in the terms of school, the school, you know, thing, like the teenage hierarchy. He's kind of this, you know, tough kid now. He's standing up for Dustin, and you get the gist. And Hopper, again, he's Hopper this season. Yeah, he's a little bit more agitated than he was in season 4, but you know, but I really feel like the big character upgrades were Robin, Will, and Mike. Them 3, complete, like, full character upgrades. They're just so much better this season than they were last season. Even though Robin was fantastic in the other seasons, she's even better. So another huge great thing about this season is the new characters that are added to the cast. Holly Wheeler being one. It's really I think she provides a great just kind of new tone to this season. She's something different. It's fresh. It's new character, and I like her. She's nowhere near as annoying as I thought she was going to be. I thought she was going to be this obnoxious little shithead, like the first half of this part, and then by the end she was going to figure out what the hell was going on, but not at all, man. The recast performance, I don't know her name, but she's doing a fantastic job, really. And we're not really familiar with Holly, really. We haven't seen her much in the show, but it's cool that she's actually become a part of it now. Derek Turnbow, that little shithead. Nothing against the actor, but he is this little fat asshole that he's just such a douche, and he's running around saying "suck my fat one" to everybody, and finally he catches on, and they fucking kidnap him and his family. He catches on, and he becomes a funny part of the cast. It's cool to have another generation. We have like the adults, the young adults, the teenagers, and then now we have like the younger Erica group. We can add more characters to that generation, which was nice. They were pretty much the only two like new characters, I guess you could say. But they're, again, definitely a warm welcome. Another thing, budget. You can really tell the budget went up. I don't want to say all of the effects look great. There are some very obvious blue screen shots, particularly like when they're standing in front of the wall. The shots where Hopper and Eleven are standing in front of the wall in the upside down. You can tell it's blue screen. It's very obvious. I don't know why it's only really in that particular scene, but you can really tell. And the scene where Jonathan and Steve climb the big fucking tower at the WSQK radio station, that is very, very obvious as well. But aside from that, though, the effects at the end where all the Demogorgons are attacking all the military soldiers, you can tell this is where the budget went. The part where Vecna walks in and, excuse me, starts killing everybody. That fucking scene in general is just awesome. The part where the Demogorgons are chasing Murray and Robin in the truck and down there in the tunnels with Lucas, like, you can tell where the budget went for this first part. That whole ending sequence is fucking nuts. Really, just like an incredible sequence. We got some, cool flashback sequences as well. Obviously, the first 5 minutes, which we saw. We get the part where Max is like in Vecna's head, and you see a young Joyce and a young Steve Harrington, or his father. Sorry. That was really cool stuff there. Max's whole journey in this, I thought was pretty good. It was pretty entertaining. The big reveal that 8 is around and she's being locked up in the Upside Down in this facility by Linda Hamilton's character, Dr. K, I think her name is. That was a really big fucking reveal. It was huge. Vecna's new design is fucking awesome. So much to love about this new part, man. So much. I love that Henry Creel's taking like this. He's back in his human form and manipulating these kids, and he's bringing them into his like mind, and he has them behind the wall in Hawkins' lab, and he's got them. He's like trying to create like this new generation of like the mind power kids from Hawkins' lab in like season 1 or whatever. Excuse me, sorry. I think that's a pretty cool like motivation. I dig that. I think that's really cool. So just so much to love in this part so far. So much. All right, and to wrap this video up, I honestly think overall, as the first part to this big finale season, I've really got to give this like a 9.5, and 9 at the lowest. This seriously was an unbelievable first part. And I'm sorry this review has been all over the place. Prepare yourself. That's probably going to help how my part 2 review is going to be. It's so hard to neatly do these types of reviews because it's just so hard for me, at least, to remember what happens in which episodes and stuff. Like, I can remember certain things, like, this is actually a good time to bring this up. Episode 2 ends with a huge Halloween reference, at least I thought. Mr. Sandman plays at the end. That was a huge moment for me. I was very ecstatic when that happened. But like small, like big stuff like that, I can remember what happens in which episode. But like the really nitty gritty details, I won't remember. So I tried to cover everything that was all the big stuff, all the important stuff that I thought happened in this part so far. So like once again, I apologize for this being kind of all over the place. Hope you were still able to enjoy it. And like I said, the review for part 2 will be coming when it finally launches on Christmas. I can't guarantee that the review for that will be out before part 3. Christmas is a busy time for me. But I will try my hardest to make sure I get it out before the finale on January 31st. So yeah, like I said, 9.5, 9 at the least of a part so far. I thought episode 4 was one of the best episodes in the entire show. Seriously. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing where this goes next and how the season will end and how the series will end. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.